don't know how stories have a life of their own. I don't know what that thing is that happens, but it's been happening to me since I started. I'll give you an example. One of the first examples. I was working with a storyteller in Galway, and we were telling stories in a local pub, and we were doing Celtic tales. And I was working on Cuchulainn, but like Cuchulainn as a little kid, you know, when he gets his name. And when I went to tell, I was quite nervous because I was telling an Irish myth in Ireland to Irish people, which is quite nervous-making for an Irish person. What if I get it wrong? And every time I went to tell it, when I was rehearsing with Rab was the other storyteller, this thing would happen with my body when I would go to speak as the character. But like, I could feel as if the character was coming through me and into my body and forward. And I was like, what is that, you know? And it was like, I could feel his character. He was like a little gurrier. That's what we say in Ireland, you know. And I said to Rab, I was like, I can't do that on stage, you know, like, because that's like, this is very early days, myths are sacred, you know, and I don't want to disrespect them. But every time I went to tell it, this feeling like a shapeshifter, I realised later, feeling. And I kept trying to resist it, and I kept going, no, you know, that's whatever's going on there, no. And finally it was time to do the story, and it was the night in the pub and stuff, very informal, you know, small room and everything. But I went to do the story, and it was just, there wasn't really much of a choice. It was like, just, I'm coming through whether you like it or not. And I went, all right, fine. And I just let go of that resistance. And, you know, it felt like I was morphing. It just felt so in the body. And he just wanted to cook, like little Satanta, is what he was called then, before he got his name, wanted to come out like that. So I let him out. And I felt this, it's very strange in the body, very strange feeling. A lightness and an emptiness, a slightly out of bodiness. I don't always know what I'm saying there, and I've sort of worked on that later, but yeah, slightly disembodied. And also that kind of like letting go, letting the creature, story, whatever, move into that space and fully releasing, and then come back at the end. And I had to spend a couple of years figuring out how to come back in, how to reintegrate, because I would be so out if I told a really big myth. I would be so out. People would come up to talk to me at the end, and I would still be slightly wonky. And I finished telling it about Satanta, and I came back into my body, sort of thing, and I didn't really know what had happened or what I had said and if the story had worked. And then I looked at people's faces and they started to clap. I went, okay, well, they're clapping, that's good. They're not throwing things. So, but then they came up to me afterwards and started to say, you know, I really saw him, or that was amazing, or, you know, and I said, was it? It wasn't disrespect. No, it was great. And so I just gave in, and I started letting that happen whenever it happens, which is now quite frequently. So the characters appear, I can talk to them. Sounds very strange. I invite them in. I invite them onto the stage. I invite the story onto the stage. I try and make a space big enough. It's a type of shape-shifting. And that's how I knew when people say the man turned into a wolf. It's like, I know what they're talking about. Because for a split second, someone will say, I really saw so-and-so on stage. How is that happening? And I'd say, I don't know. But I'm glad it did. Because when that happens, I think back to seeing John Moriarty in 2003, and all he was doing, he was like 6'4", and this huge hulking man with his wild hair, beautiful face, you know. And all he was doing was talking, and this thing was just there and in him and around him, and I think that's what he was doing. I think he was dancing in that intangible liminal space where these gods play and these landscapes are made and unmade, and I'm not big enough, or my brain's not something enough to understand it You know, storytellers, we endlessly worry, is this going to work? Is this the right story? Should I be telling this? Will they like it? All the performance anxiety you get as a performer. When you can actually get out of your own way, the story will do the work.